and ability not to be too detached away from them shows power. It shows that you are powerful. So most times when you are aware of external events and we know how they affect us sometimes, and we have the ability not to allow them to affect our peace, it's a skill, and it shows that you are powerful. So most times we can distance ourselves from their behavior, but most times we don't give them the ability to disrupt our peace, and then we don't give them the power. And we can also cultivate empathy in the sense that we know that they have a problem and they need help. And the moment we begin to look at that in that kind of direction, it also helps us, and it also helps the person that is suffering from that bad behavior, because most of the time they are ignorant of their circumstances, and so we can help them. We can also give them the help that they need, because we know that they are struggling with an ailment, and most times it makes us to understand the situation and how to handle it. So when you are living with a toxic person, know that that person needs help and he's not even aware of what is happening to him. And most times we should respond with understanding rather than reacting. And we can also sit down and ask what was the problem that could have made this person become who he is. So that way it also helps. Then we should also make use of boundaries. We must have clear and firm boundaries, because it allows us to have self-care and self-respect, especially when you think of boundaries as a wall which protects you. Of course, the walls will not imprison you, but rather they protect you. So when you begin to see boundaries as that, you know that you are kind of protecting yourself, your mental health, and your mental well-being. So most times we should communicate our boundaries, what we don't want to accept. We should let them know that you don't want to accept to be treated this way, in a polite manner, so that it doesn't cause conflict. The other thing is to embrace them, because of course they are difficult people. Toxic people are difficult people. And most times when we see them like a machine, because sometimes in our workplace we encounter some difficulties, like when we are using some machines and it gets to a point that we don't understand why this machine is working this way. So we begin to look for ways on how to make the equipment work. So that is how we should take toxic people. We know that they are difficult people, and we look for a way on how we can handle them. And of course, our experience at times will even make us to be a better person. Maybe it's kind of helping us to improve our level of patience in life, and it can also make us a better person. So if we look at toxic people like that, it can also help us in another way. So another thing is, you don't allow them to control you. You are the one that should be in control. And most times we have to rehearse how we are going to be talking to them, the kind of words that we are going to use with them, our posture. And most times when we notice that we want to get angry, we have to use deep breathing. And we can even rehearse how we talk to them regularly, because we know that there will be a time that you cannot avoid them. So you need to talk to them. So when you practice how to talk to them, it can also help. Then most times it's not the response. It is most times our response should be positive anyway, not negative. So another thing is we should try to avoid conflict with them. And if we can avoid them, then we can also learn to avoid them. So sometimes you cannot control negative comments from a toxic person, but you can control the way you react. So, and also the way you interpret these comments. So another thing is to find good in everything And when situation comes to you, first of all, look at what's good you can bring out of this situation. And then it will also teach us a lot of things also in the process. And then at the end of the day, we will always learn. And you remember that you need to also work on yourself, because at the end of the day, the kind of people that comes to our life also determine the kind of people that we will eventually be. So we should always remember that we want to always be the best of who we are, and we don't want to react most times in a negative way, and that is power. And remember that whatever situation that you are going through, remember that it will always pass. So keep telling yourself that. The English people will say no situation is permanent, but you can also get the good side of every situation. All right, thank you. Bye. And kindly subscribe to my video if you haven't. It's highly appreciated. If you're having values from my video, I would really, really appreciate if you can subscribe and also give me a like and share. Thanks. Bye.